الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه ومن اهتدى بهداه إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد, dear brothers and sisters, this is a new lesson of our commentary on Bulugh al-Maram by Imam Hafiz Hajar al-Asqalani, and we've reached today to chapter Bab al-Diyats, types of diyats, blood money. Now, when we're speaking about blood money, we're not speaking about money as currency, but we're speaking about what you give to somebody that you killed his relative. So, therefore, it might be camels, it might be something else rather than camels, it might be the cost of that. So it's not always money, currency. So therefore, the first hadith here, عن أبي بكر بن محمد بن حزم عن أبي عن جدي رضي الله عنهم أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم كتب إلى أهل اليمن فذكر الحديث فيه إن من اعتبط مؤمنا قتلا عن بينة فإنه قود إلا أن يرضى أولياء المقتول وإن في النفس الدية 100 من الإبل وفي الأنف إذا أوعب جدعه الدية وفي اللسان الدية وفي الشفتين الدية وفي الذكر الدية وفي البيضتين الدية وفي الصلب الدية وفي العينين الدية وفي الرجل الواحدة نصف الدية وفي المأمومة ثلث الدية وفي الجائفة ثلث الدية وفي المنقلة 15 من الإبل وفي كل إصبع من أصابع اليد والرجل 10 من الإبل وفي السن 5 من الإبل وفي الموضحة 5 من الإبل وإن الرجل يقتل بالمرأة وعلى أهل الذهب 1000 دينار. أخرجه أبو داود في المراسيل والنسائي وابن خزيمة وابن حبان وابن الجارود وأحمد واختلفوا في صحته. Okay. Okay, now look, this hadith narrated Abu Bakr ibn Muhammad ibn Amr ibn Hazm on his father's authority from his grandfather, radiallahu anhu. The Prophet ﷺ wrote to the people of Yemen. The narrator narrated the hadith, and it contains, if anyone kills a believer unjustly, a deliberate killing relating it is then due unless the relatives of the one who is killed are pleased with some of other settlements. It also contains that the diya, blood money, for a life being taken is 100 camels. That full diya, blood money, must be paid in each of the followings: the complete cutting off of a nose, the two eyes, the tongue, the two lips, the penis, the two testicles, and the backbone. That for 1 foot, half the diya, blood money, must be paid. For a wound in the head which reaches the brain, 1/3 of the blood money. For a thrust which penetrates the body, 1/3 of the blood money. For a wound which causes the broken bones to come out 15 camels. For each finger and toe, 10 camels. For the tooth, 5 camels. And for the wound, or for a wound which lays bare the bone, 5 camels. That a man may be killed in retaliation for a woman, and that those who have gold should pay 1,000 dinars. Reported by Abu Dawood in the book of Marasil, An-Nasa'i, Ibn Khuzaymah, Ibn Jarud, Ibn Hibban, and Ahmad. However, they disagreed regarding its authenticity. So this is a long hadith, and it's like a message sent from the Prophet ﷺ to that tribe, to Yemen, to show them what do they have to do due to these types of crimes. If someone does so and so, what is the blood ransom that has to be given? Now, actually, there are many narrations for this hadith that support this hadith. So, therefore, because this hadith is not actually, it's not a hadith that all people use, it's only for judges and governors. So that's why we have some problems in its chains. It's not spread like prayers and like fasting and all these types of worships that people always do. So therefore, actually, this hadith is accepted by scholars. And Yaqub ibn Sufyan, the great Imam, says, I don't know in all of the books that are mentioned by the Prophet ﷺ a book more authentic than the book of Amr ibn Hazm. Because the Prophet ﷺ's companions and their followers used to go back to this hadith and respect it and leave their opinions for it. So it's considered as an agreeable hadith. Well, now this book that was sent by the Prophet ﷺ to Amr ibn Hazm is full of knowledge and full of rulings. It has in it the amounts of charities, regular charities, the blood ransom of killing people or cutting parts of them, and all types of things like this. And the whole ummah respected this hadith and recognized it. And only few things in it that scholars disagreed about. And therefore, let us speak about every part of this hadith, which concerns the judges actually, because it's punishments about crimes that people can do between each other. Now, the first one says that if somebody kills somebody, he deserves to be killed, one soul by soul, unless the relatives of the deceived person agree to take the blood ransom. So, therefore, we have retaliation. If no retaliation, the blood ransom. If they forgive, that's it. They forgive. They forgive. So if a Muslim kills a Muslim without any reason that he deserves to be killed for, and there is a proof that he killed him, and the proof is that he agrees that he killed him, or two men, trustworthy, saw him killing him. So these are the proofs These are the proofs that prove that this guy killed this guy. Now, the family of the deceived person have the right to agree about three things. Either agree to about a specific amount of money, no matter it's more or less than the diya, according to the Hanafis and Malikis. So they are allowed to do that. Or they say we agree to take the diya. So the killer, the murder, agrees to, well, he's going to be obliged to pay that, as the Shafi'is and Hanbalis say. And we mentioned this before. I don't want to mention something that was mentioned before. Now here it says that anybody who killed anybody by mistake, he has to pay this blood ransom, which is 100 camels, And anybody who cuts someone's nose, the whole nose, if he cuts the whole nose, he has to give him 100 camel for that. Anybody who cuts somebody's tongue, he has to give him 100 camels. Anybody who cuts somebody's penis, he has to give him 100 camel. Anybody who cuts the two testicles, he has to give him 100 camel. And if he cuts only one, he has to give him only 50 camels. Anybody who hits him on his back until he falls down and he doesn't stand up anymore on his legs, he breaks his back, he has to give him 100 camels. Anybody who takes off somebody else's eyes or loses his two eyes, he has to give him 100 camels. And one eye is 50 camels. Anybody who cuts somebody's legs, two legs, he has to give him 100 camels, and one leg, 50 camels. Anybody who hits somebody's head until he reaches to the brain, and actually, if he reaches the brain, he's going to die. But there's a very thin skin there that protects the brain. So if he reaches there, this is called ma'muma. If he reaches there, he has to give him 1/3 of the camels. 1/3 of 100 camels. Okay? And anyone who hits somebody on his head or hits him anywhere in his body until the bones shake from their places, he has to give him 15 camels. Anybody who cuts one's finger, every finger is 10 camels. And the 10 fingers are 100 camels. So if he cuts the whole fingers, it's 50 camels. So everyone is on 10 camels. And that doesn't matter the legs or the toes or the fingers. Anybody who hits one's tooth and it falls down, it's 5 camels. Now, if somebody hits somebody else and he injures him that you can see the bone this leads this leads him to give 5 camels. Some say it's only the if he injures him on his face or on his head, or yeah, on the face or the head. This is what the Malikis say. Now, if a man kills a woman, he deserves to be killed. And if a woman kills a man, she deserves to be killed. Both of them. If one of them kills another one, both of them deserve to be killed. Because the bloods are equal. Now, if somebody doesn't have camels, but they have gold and other types of money. So therefore, he says that he has to give 1,000 dinars. And 1,000 dinars, we said that the dinar is it's two. Well, actually, look, dinar is the golden coin. The golden coin. And what do scholars say about that? It's 4.25 golden grams of gold. Pure gold. Pure gold. It's 4.25. Okay? And the Hanafis count it as 5 grams. 5 grams of gold, pure gold. Okay? Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Now, most of the scholars from all of the schools count the diya by gold. So therefore, this would be more easier because nowadays most people don't deal with camels; they deal with gold. So if we say it's 1,000, therefore you can count all of what we spoke before by counting it by 1,000 dinars, which is every dinar is 4.25 gold, pure gold, pure gold. Okay? وعن ابن مسعود رضي الله عنه قال: دية الخطأ 5 أخماس 20 حقة 20 جذعة 20 بنات مخاض 20 بنات لبون 20 بنو لبون ذكور. خرجه الدارقطني موقوفا، وخرجه أحمد والأربعة مرفوعا بلفظ 20 بني مخاض بدل بني لبون، وإسناد الأول أقوى، وأخرجه ابن خزيمة من وجه آخر، عفوا بن شيبة بن أبي شيبة وهو أصح من المرفوعين. أصح من المرفوعين. وأخرجه أبو داود والترمذي من طريق عمرو بن شعيب عن أبيه عن جدي رفعه: الدية 30 حقة 30 جذعة 40 خلفة في بطونها أولادها، لكن لفظهما مختلف والمعنى أيضا. So he says here, narrated Ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu, the Prophet said, the blood money for murder by error should be in five types of camels. 5 types of camels. Okay. So 20 she camels in their 4th year. 20 she-camels in their 5th year, 20 she-camels which had entered their 2nd year, 20 she-camels which had entered their 3rd year, and 20 male camels which had entered their 3rd year. Ad-Daraqutni reported it. Al-Arba'a reported it in with the wording 20 male camels which had entered their 2nd year instead of 20 male camels which had entered their 3rd year. And the chain of narrators of the first Daraqutnis is stronger than the ones reported by Al-Arba'a. Ibn Abi Shayba reported it through another chain which is mawquf, a saying of the companion, Ibn Mas'ud here. It's more authentic than the marfu' narration. Attributes to the Prophet ﷺ. Attributed to the Prophet ﷺ. Abu Dawood and the Tirmidhi reported the aforesaid hadith through Amr ibn Shu'ayb on his father's authority from his grandfathers, radiallahu anhu, who narrated it as marfu', a saying of the Prophet ﷺ, that the blood money should be 30 she-camels in their 4th year, 30 she-camels in their 5th year, and 40 she-camels in their 6th year, and which are pregnant. Okay, so this is now this hadith actually this hadith is speaking about if somebody kills somebody by mistake. So this means that it's obligatory to give this blood money if somebody kills somebody by mistake. And this is what all Muslims agree about. So if somebody kills somebody by mistake, for example, he killed him by an accident on a car, or he wanted to hunt, all of a sudden he killed somebody he thought that he was an animal, and then he discovered he's a human being, or anything, any reason that he killed him by mistake. So this hadith says that these are 5 types. And these are 5 types of camels, and it's mentioned in this hadith of Ibn Mas'ud by the narration of Ad-Daraqutni, and this is what Imam Malik and Imam Shafi'i said. Now Abu Hanifa and his friends and Ahmed in another narration, he says that they are 20 Banu Makhad. And Banu Makhad is the she-camel that has 2 years. She-camel that has 2 years. So there's a conflict between this one and another narration, which means that the conflict is because of the different opinions about this. These 2 narrations led to have several opinions about this type of deal. Hadith Amr ibn Shu'ayb by Tirmidhi and others, that the one who kills by intention, and then they agree to to solve the problem without retaliation, it's it's a bit it's not a normal blood ransom. It's a bit they can it's a heavy blood ransom. It's a heavy blood ransom because he made it by intention, and they want to. And that leads to a heavy one. So it's three types, as the hadith mentions, and as Imam Shafi'i says. Malikis and Hanbalis say that this blood ransom, if it's by intention, if somebody kills somebody by intention, it's divided to four categories. And they derived that from a narration by Ibn Shihab that the blood ransom that was in the days of the Prophet ﷺ was four: 25 bint Labun, 25 bint Labun, 25 she camel that has 2 years. That is in the third year. That is in the third year. And 25 she camel that is in the second year. 25 she camel that is in the uh, fourth year. Fourth year. And 25 she camel, which is in the fifth year. Okay. Now, the narration of Abu Dawood of this hadith by Amr ibn Shu'ayb an Abi an Jaddi, no one mentions it. Even Khattabi says no one takes this hadith. No one considers this hadith. It's so strange. No one considers it. Why don't they consider it? They consider the hadith as weak. And it contradicts with other narrations that are more authentic than it. So therefore, the scholars went mentioning other narrations rather than considering this hadith. Okay? And even if scholars say that it's authentic, but to the Sahabi, not to the Prophet ﷺ, which is Diyatu Khata, this last hadith of Ibn Mas'ud, although it's from the Prophet, from Ibn Mas'ud's words, but Ibn Mas'ud is not going to make this opinion by himself. It's not something that you can just think about it and say it, which means that he mentions it by the Prophet ﷺ. Okay, so this is the case. Is this clear? Well, actually, these chapters, just to be honest with you guys, these chapters, you just understand it like that. It's something that is fixed. It's what if somebody does so and so, what does he have to do? Does he have to pay the blood ransom, or they can forgive him for the blood ransom, or what exactly? So the case is that if somebody kills by intention, you either kill him by retaliation, or forgive him, or agree about paying the blood ransom. So, and what is the blood ransom? It's what just I mentioned. Now, if somebody kills somebody not by intention, by mistake, so therefore it has this what I just mentioned right now. So that's clear, alhamdulillah. Okay, now, are we allowed to revenge without any rights? عن ابن عمر رضي الله عنهما عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال: وإن أعتى الناس على الله ثلاثة: من قتل في حرم الله أو قتل غير قاتله أو قتل لذحل الجاهلية. أخرجه ابن حبان في صحيح حديث صحيح. وأصله في البخاري من حديث ابن عباس أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال: أبغض الناس إلى الله ثلاثة: ملحد في الحرم، ومبتغ في الإسلام سنة الجاهلية ومطلب دم امرئ بغير حق ليذيق دمه. Okay. Ibn Umar radiallahu anhu narrated that the Prophet ﷺ said, the people most insolent with Allah are three. He who kills someone in the haram, sacred territory of Allah, he who kills someone other than the killer of who has killed a relative of his, and he who kills someone for the revenge of the the pre-Islamic times. Ibn Hibban reported it in a hadith which he held to be sahih, authentic. Narrated Abdullah ibn Amr ibn al-As, Allah's Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, said the blood money for murder by error and Qazi deliberates murder which seems resembles international murder. No, not international. Intentional murder, such as the one committed with a whip and a stick and 100 camels, is 100 camels, 40 of which are pregnant. Abu Dawood, An-Nasa'i, Ibn Majah. Okay? Now, what does this hadith mean? This shows how dangerous these sins are. And therefore, we have to avoid them. These great sins have to be avoided. Uh, because he says that the worst people are the ones who do this. So, what are these types of uh, of sins or horrible sins? Somebody who kills somebody in the sacred land, Mecca and Medina, because you disrespected the land, which is a sacred land. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says about Mecca, وَمَنْ دَخَلَهُ كَانَ آمِنًا. The one who enters the sacred land, he's safe, he's protected, he's in amnesty, he doesn't have any problem. Okay? So the other one in the other hadith says the one who commits a huge crime in the sacred land. Okay? Now the Shafi'is and Hanbalis say that the blood ransom in killing in the haram is more tough and rough for the one who commit this crime. And what proves that if you kill an animal by mistake in the haram, if you kill an animal by mistake in the haram, that leads to pay a big ransom value. I mean, if you kill an animal, if you hunt in the haram, that leads to it's divided actually. Now, if somebody kills somebody that he didn't kill him, That's a big crime. Somebody didn't kill anybody of your family, and you go killing them. That's a big crime. Okay? Okay. Or anybody who goes revenging against somebody because of something happened before they converted to Islam. For example, both of you were not Muslim, Christians or whatever, or Jews or Hindus or whatever, and he commit a crime or killed somebody that you love. Then both of you converted to Islam, you became Muslim. And he goes killing you because what happened before you converted to Islam, that's a big sin. That's a big sin because Islam erases all what happened before converting to Islam. So you're not allowed to go and revenge against somebody who did something bad to you before both of you converted to Islam or before he converted to Islam. Okay, so this is clear, alhamdulillah. وعن عبد الله بن عمرو بن العاص رضي الله عنهما أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال: ألا إن دية الخطأ شبه العمد ما كان بالصوت والعصا 100 من الإبل منها 40 في بطونها أولادها. أخرجه أبو داود والنسائي وابن ماجه وصححه ابن حبان. This hadith, I think it passed before. وعنه رضي الله عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم: عقل شبه العمد مغلظ مثل عقل العمد ولا يقتل صاحبه، وذلك أن ينزو الشيطان فتكون دماء بين الناس في غير ضغينة ولا حمل سلاح. رواه أحمد وأبو داود والدارقطني وضاعفه. Okay. Narrated Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma, the Prophet ﷺ said, this and this are, no, wait a second. And Abdullah ibn Amr ibn As narrated that Allah's Messenger ﷺ said, the blood money for murder by error and qazi deliberates. I read this. Murder which resembles intentional murder, such as the one committed with a wipe or a whip and a stick, is 100 camels, 40 of which are pregnant. I mentioned this before. And yes, this hadith. Narrated Amr ibn Shu'ayb عن أبيه عن جده. Amr ibn Shu'ayb's father, authority from his grandfather, that Allah's Messenger ﷺ said, blood money for qazi deliberates. Is that how you read it? Qazi deliberates? Deliberate murder is to be made as severe as that for deliberate murder, but the offended is not to be killed, so that there is no chance for the devil to rise up and thereby cause shedding of blood between the people, even though the intentional killing involved. No ill will, nor the use of deadly weapons. Daraqutni reported it and agreed it's weak. Okay, it's weak. Now, what do we get from these narrations? We mentioned that some scholars agree that there is an intentional killing and there is something that is called similar to intentional killing. So it's not intention, but it's not a mistake. there is an intention to harm, but there isn't an intention to kill. But he dies. This is the case. So so if something that was intentional, somebody killed somebody by a knife or by a gun or whatever, that's intention. Okay, if somebody kills with something like that, that's intention. But if somebody hits somebody with something, usually doesn't kill, and like a stick or whatever, and he passes away, he dies, or or he throws something on him and he dies. So scholars call this similar uh to to an intentional killing. And the majority of scholars agree about this, like Hanafis, Maliki, Shafi'is, and Hanbalis. And they mention these two hadith. But Imam Malik, rahimahullah, and others, they don't agree about this one. So they have, you either kill somebody by intention or you kill them by mistake. That's it. They don't have something between them. But actually, if you go back to these narrations, you will discover that there is something called, there is an intermediate case between killing by intention and killing not by intention. There is an intermediate case between by mistake. Either you have by intention, by somebody who has a knife or a sword and hits somebody else, that means he meant to kill him. And even if he doesn't have an intention to kill him, we don't care about that. The judge doesn't search for something like that, because usually if you hit somebody with a knife or with a sword or with a gun or any types of these new weapons, that kills. That's it. And they speak about something that is sharp or something that is heavy, like a piece of uh, iron, so hard, so heavy, and you go throwing it on his head. That means you're going to kill him. That's it. And anything that tears off the body, which means it enters the body and goes out of it. They call it with Arabic al-khaziq. Khaziq means it goes inside the body and cuts it, like the bullets and stuff like that. Or the old weapons like a spear or like an arrow. Normally they usually kill. But now there is a
Sheikh, your voice becomes very low at certain points. Sometimes we can't hear you.
Oh, okay. Sorry. So I said if you kill somebody by a stick or by lashing him and he dies, usually sticks don't kill and lashes don't kill, but they might kill in some cases. They might kill. So that's why the opinion of the majority of scholars is more accepted than the Maliki opinion. So there is an intermediary between these two cases. Okay. Now, the hadith shows us what is the intermediary. He says by a lash or by a stick. And this is now the thing that you kill somebody with, that led to killing. But what are the circumstances? Well, the circumstances is that there is a fight between two groups. For example, there were two tribes or two groups of people in somewhere, or everyone is in a district and then they fight for something. I don't know anything, and then everybody goes and he hits this guy, and this guy hits, but they don't use anything. It's just hitting each other. The the Satan makes them hit each other. They're it's not a battle actually. They're not using weapons, but one of them died. Maybe he beat him, he hit him on his head or in his heart, or he was weak, or something happened, so he died. Okay? So this is the case. Okay? Now, Imam Abu Hanifa, rahimahullah, has an opinion. He says that if somebody kills somebody with something that usually kills, like a huge stone or a thick stick, like the baseball stick, and he hits him on his head or something like that. He says that this is considered as uh, an intermediate case. It's not killing, but it's intermediate case between them. Okay, but the majority of scholars don't consider this as similar to as intermediate case. They they consider it as an intentional killing. So this is, according to them, an intentional killing. Okay, but now if we say that there's a judge that has these opinions and something like that, and when he has the case near him, he says, okay, the Prophet ﷺ says that try to avoid hudud بالشبهات. Hudud are these types of punishments if there's a suspect, or there is a case that you can say that maybe there's a mistake or so and so. So you try to take an opinion that is less in punishments. So it's not okay. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad. Okay, now the hadith mentions what is the blood ransom for the mistaking killing. I mentioned this before. It's
Assalamu
100
alaikum.
camels. Yes.
Yes, I couldn't hear your voice clearly when you said if the judge takes a lesser opinion, then what did you say that's okay to do? Or
Yeah, I said it's okay. For example, he says that the Prophet ﷺ says that you have to avoid punishments if there's a suspect, or if there's a doubt.
yeah,
So
okay.
if the judge says, okay, I feel that I'm not comfortable to kill this guy, and especially that he has children, or he has the case or whatever, so he
Mhm.
chooses to take the blood ransom, and he says, okay, I'm going to take Abu Hanifa's opinion. Are you going to tell him that you're gambling with the Sharia? No. We say that he chose something that would be accepted, especially if he's a capable judge and he's searching for the truth. This
Okay.
is what I'm.
So,
Yeah. So therefore, we said here that the second hadith says that the diya, which is the blood ransom, is sometimes uh, yeah, we said that it's 100 camels. 40 amongst them have their are pregnant. 40 are pregnant. Yes, 40 are pregnant. This is what Imam Shafi'i says. Um, Now there is another hadith that mentions that there are four categories, as I mentioned before, that the Prophet ﷺ says that no, Hadith Ibn Shihab al-Zuhri, where he says that the diya in the days of the Prophet ﷺ was four categories. I mentioned this before. Okay, what do these guys that say it's four categories, like Abu Hanifa, Abu Yusuf, and Hanbalis, what do they say about the other hadith? They say it's not authentic, and we choose this. Now you can see, look, most of these narrations are not that authentic and are not in the authentic books like Bukhari and Muslim. It's not, you know why? You know why? Because usually the narrations that have to do with something that not everybody takes care of it or is concerned by it, only few people narrate it. So therefore, its chains are not in the authenticity as the others that everybody speak about them, like hadith of lots of hadith. So I discovered this when I studied fiqh. You always discover that the narrations here have to be authentic by a lots of uh, efforts. You have to search for the chains and the chains and the authenticity of the narrators and stuff like that. Okay. After we finished speaking about retaliation and the blood ransom of killing somebody. Now, there are other crimes that are not killing somebody, but are cutting others' parts. You have this a lot. You have others who cut some others' hands or fingers, or cut or lose their eyes, or lose any parts of their bodies. This happens a lot. So what is the case? Is the case to put them in jail, and then what am I gonna benefit from somebody in jail, and he cut part of my body? Recently, there was a very horrible crime here in our country. Is that a girl that finds herself that her father is a judge, and I don't know what she thinks that she's a um she's she thinks that she's an important girl, and she went to her her schoolmate and her school colleague, which is a poor girl. She's a humble girl from a normal family, and they discussed with each other, and all of a sudden she felt that she didn't like her way of discussing with her, and she went and took a type of those shaving machines. She took part of it, very sharp part, and she went and she cut her face. She went to her face and she cut her face, and therefore she injured her face with a very bad injury, which makes her seem, and she's still young. I mean, she's a girl in school. And instead of punishing the the one that commit this crime or solving the problem in a proper way, the other one just when she went to jail for two months and then she went out. Now the other one is saying, "What now? What am I going to gain from that? My face. Look what happened to me. She ruined my face." Now, if this is in the Sharia, that the other one has to have the same punishments. If they agree to not having the same punishments, at least she has to pay her this blood ransom, not to leave her like that. You see. So let us see what are the blood ransom of parts of the body or other things like that. عن ابن عباس رضي الله عنهما عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال: هذه وهذه سواء، يعني الخنصر والإبهام. ولأبي داود والترمذي: الأصابع سواء والأسنان سواء، الثنية والضرس سواء. وللترمذي ولابن حبان: دية الأصابع اليدين والرجلين سواء، 10 من الإبل لكل إصبع. So Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu narrated, the Prophet ﷺ said, this and this are equal regarding blood money, meaning the little finger and the thumb. The little finger and the thumb. What do you call the what do you call the little finger. We have the thumb, the index, and the third finger. What is it called?
The third finger is the ring finger, and then the smallest one is called the pinky.
No, wait a second. The fourth is the ring one. No?
No, in the West, the ring finger is worn on the ring is worn on the third finger, which is the third largest. So you have the index finger, the middle finger, then the third one is called the ring finger, and the small one is called the pinky.
I thought the
Oh,
ring
yeah.
finger is the fourth, not.
Maybe he didn't
No, not
consider
in the
the
West.
thumb. You don't consider the thumb.
Yeah, there's the thumb, the
Uh-huh.
index,
The
middle,
the middle, yeah.
the ring,
The ring.
and then
uh-huh.
the pinky.
The
The
pinky,
small one
yeah.
is
Exactly. Yeah. That's it. In Arabic, we have al-ibham, wal-khinsar, wal-binsar. No, wait a second. No. Khinsar, binsar, wusta. No. Khinsar is the small one. Binsar is the ring. Wusta is the middle. Sababa is the index. Ibham is the thumb. Okay. So here the hadith says that the pinky and the thumb are equal. If somebody cuts your pinky or cuts your thumb, it's 10 camels. Okay. Abu Dawood and Tirmidhi have the blood money for the fingers and toes is equal. The teeth are equal, which means even. The front tooth and the molar tooth are equal. It's five camels. Ibn Hibban has the blood money for the fingers and toes are equal, and 10 camels must be paid for each finger or toe. Okay? So what do we get from this hadith? You see how mankind is so worthy? Mankind is so worthy. You can't hit somebody and break his teeth or break his or cut his finger or do whatever you want and then go away. And if the judge wants to punish you, he just puts you in jail. Well, what are you going to gain from the jail, and what is he going to gain from your jail? So therefore, this is, alhamdulillah, so clear. And وعنه رضي الله عنه أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال في المواضح خمس من الإبل. رواه أحمد والأربعة. زاد أحمد والأصابع سواء كلهن عشر من الإبل، وصححه ابن خزيمة وابن الجارود. Okay, let us see what does he mean this. Now, narrated Amr ibn Shu'aib on his father's authority from his grandfather, the Prophet ﷺ said, anyone who practices, no, wait a second. Narrated Amr ibn Shu'aib on his father's authority from his grandfather's, radiallahu anhu, the Prophet ﷺ said, 5 camels must be paid for every wound that lays bare a bone. That lays bare a bone. Reported by Ahmad and wait a second. Reported by Ahmad and Al-Arba, the 4 readers of the Sunnah. Ahmad added, the fingers and toes are all equal, and 10 camels must be paid for each of them. Ibn Khuzaymah and Ibn al-Jarud graded it Sahih, authentic. Okay? So therefore, here if somebody hits somebody on his head and it shows the bone, it shows the bone, shows the skeleton, the bone. This leads to give him 5 of the camels. It's not only on the head or on any part of the body. If the bone appears, you have to give him 5 camels. And then he mentions that all fingers are like each other, which is 10 camels. عن عمرو بن شعيب عن أبي عن جدي رضي الله عنهم رفعه قال من تطبب ولم يكن بالطب معروفا فأصاب نفسا فما دونها فهو ضامن. أخرجه الدارقطني وصححه الحاكم وهو عند أبي داود والنسائي وغيرهما إلا من أرسله أقوى ممن وصله. Now this hadith is for the doctors, physicians, so that they can know what is their responsibility. Okay, so he says here that anyone, Ibn Amr Shaib and Abi Jaddihi, from his father, from his grandfather, radiallahu anhu, the Prophet said, anyone who practices medicine while he's not known as a practitioner, he's not an official doctor. He didn't study properly. He doesn't have certificates, and he goes open and place and claiming that he's a doctor and curing people. Then he kills someone of inflicts some bodily harm, less than death. Either he kills or he gives them a problem in his body. He will be held responsible. Ad-Darqutni reported it, and the Hakim graded it Sahih, authentic. It occurs in the books of Abu Dawood and Nasa'i and others. However, it's mursal from missing mursal form, missing link after the tabi'i is stronger than its mursal connection. Connected, mawsul, connected chain. Okay, now this hadith is authenticized by al-Hakim and agreed by Imam al-Dhahabi rahimahullah, although some scholars spoke about its authenticity. Now he says here, anyone who claims that he's a doctor and starts curing people, but he's not capable, he is responsible for what he does. And this means that if he kills or he harms anybody, for example, he causes them a problem, he would be responsible for that, which means that if he ruins a part of his body, he has to pay the blood ransom for that. Okay? And Imam al-Khattabi says, I don't know any conflict between scholars about this. That if somebody claims that he's a doctor and he goes ruining somebody's body, he's responsible to pay the blood ransom for that. Now look, this applies even to all people who deal with people's body. Like what? Like somebody comes to circumcise a child and he's not capable. He's not somebody that is capable, or he's not an expert, and he makes a mistake, he is responsible for that. The same thing, somebody goes making cupping and he causes a disaster, so he's responsible for what he does. Therefore, this means that if somebody is capable, he's an official doctor, he has a certificate, and he studied properly, but he made a mistake, that means he's not responsible to pay any blood ransom because he didn't mean it. He didn't do it by intention. And this is by two conditions. The first condition, that he's known to be capable and expert. The second thing is that he didn't make something that usually is not done, which means he didn't do something that doctors don't do. If he doesn't do that, for example, he made a mistake, which is not done usually, or he's not known to be an expert, he has to pay the blood ransom. Okay?
Sheikh, can you repeat the second point? That what did you mean that he does something that's not usually done? I didn't understand that part.
Yeah, for example, doctors usually, if they want to make a surgery operation, they have to do a specific specific way. But he didn't do what he has to do. For example, I don't know. I'm just trying to imagine because I'm not a physician actually. But if he does something and the doctors say, well, actually, he didn't have to do that, and that's a mistake actually that doctors don't do, or he left him more than the time that he has to leave him, or he was busy doing something else and he forgot about him and then he remembered him. Anything like that, that is a real mistake. That doesn't have anything to do with the a mistake of a doctor. It has to do with not taking care of the deceived person. You see, like sometimes he can give them to somebody who's still learning instead of dealing with them, or sometimes he can use something that is not proper. I don't know. I'm just trying to imagine. Okay.
So what happens in that case? He has to play if he's negligent,
Yes. Yeah.
not because
He
so
would
if
be
he's
responsible for what happened.
so
Yeah.
he will like, and then a lot of times you have like in the teaching schools, you have students that are doing it, and that causes some harms under the supervision of an attending or whatever. Then who's responsible? The student who is doing it, or the doctor who was,
Or the
teaching them?
doctor, because he's the one who gave the deceived person to the students.
Okay,
The
just
student is still learning, so the doctor is responsible. Wallahu alam. Now I'm just speaking in general. When you go to the specific cases, that's another story. Okay.
Yes, I mean, fiqh versus actual
Yeah.
case law can differ. Yeah.
Okay. Now it's no. The rule always is like this: if anybody passes limits and he goes out of his job or does something that the job doesn't give him to do, he's responsible. For example, if you give a trustworthy person something that is, for example, you leave your car with somebody and you tell them this car, I'm going to put it in garage. Uh, and he says, okay, no problem. You leave it with me. But all of a sudden he goes driving it and doing stuff with it. Are you responsible for that or he's responsible? He's responsible. If he does anything wrong or whatever, he's responsible for that. You can't be responsible for something that you gave it to a trustee. And the same thing, you give your body to a trustworthy doctor, and then he doesn't take care of it, or he doesn't pay attention to it, or he makes anything. And this happens, especially in countries that don't care about people. You can find the doctor going watching soccer or I don't know what and leaving the guy in the hospital sick until something happens to him. He's responsible for that. Did you get the idea?
Yes, Sheikh.
Okay. And okay. وعنه رضي الله عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم عقل أهل الذمة نصف عقل المسلمين رواه أحمد والأربعة ولفظ أبي داود دية المعاهد نصف دية الحر وللنساء عقل المرأة مثل عقل الرجل حتى يبلغ الثلث من ديتها وصحاب ابن خزيمة. Now here we have to understand these hadith. I'm going to read them right now and then mention them. Narrated Amr ibn Shu'aib on his father's authority from his grandfather, Allah's Messenger ﷺ said, the blood money for Ahlul Dhimma is half of that for a Muslim. Reported by Ahmad and the four narrators. Abu Dawood's reading is the blood money for the mu'ahad, one with whom a covenant has been made, Christian, Jew, Hindu, whatever, is half that for a free man. And Nasa'i has the blood money for a woman for wounds inflicted is less death, is less than death, is the same as that for a man until it reaches a third of blood money for her life. Ibn Khuzaymah graded it as authentic. Okay? Now here, look. Okay? Now the first hadith is authentic. It has a good, it's a sound hadith. The second hadith, um, never mind that. Okay, look, now the third hadith, the second hadith, it's, okay, look. Now the hadith says that if somebody kills a non-Muslim, but a non-Muslim who is considered as a citizen, he pays his blood, he pays his money, he pays his taxes, everything, so he's a citizen. The non-Muslim has to have blood ransom half than a Muslim. Why? Because a non-Muslim is not equal to a Muslim. That's so easy to say. That's the case. And this is the opinion of the Imam Malik and Shafi'i. Imam Malik and Ahmad Muhammad. Imam Shafi'i says it's 1/3 of a Muslim. And he narrates that by Umar and Uthman radiallahu anhuma. Umar and Uthman. But it's not an authentic hadith actually. Hanafis say that Muslim and non-Muslim are equal. Because the Prophet ﷺ says that the blood ransom of any non-Muslim, anybody who has a covenant with Muslims, is 1,000 dinars. 1,000 dinars, which means 1,000 gold money. But this is not an authentic hadith, but it has lots of narrations, weak narrations that support it. And they say that Abu Bakr, Umar, and Ali, when they used to rule, they made the non-Muslim like a Muslim in blood ransom. This is what they say. So actually, this is the opinion of scholars about this. So we have Malik and Ahmad. Imam Malik and Imam Ahmad say that the the non-Muslims are not equal to Muslims. They are half. Shafi'i says they are not half. They are third, less than half. Hanafis say they're equal. Why? Because of this hadith. And they claim that it's the ruling of Abu Bakr and Umar. And, oh, if it was the ruling of Abu Bakr and Umar and Ali, and that's authentic, oh, no doubt about it. No, we can't. We have to take the opinion of the Hanafis. But if there is a suspect about that, that's another case. Okay. Now it says that the woman in punishments is like man in blood ransom until it reaches to 1/3 of the whole blood ransom, 100 camels. If it reaches to 1/3 of it, it flips over and it becomes half of it. So therefore, this means that the woman's blood ransom is half of the man's blood ransom in the whole body and in the parts of the body, as long as it's more than 1/3. If it's less than 1/3, it becomes equal. Okay? So therefore, they say in 3 fingers you have 30 camels. In 4 fingers you have 20 camels because it passed 1/3. And this is the opinion of the Imam Malik, rahimahullah. But the others say, well, this hadith is weak. And we can't say this. We can't say this. So the Hanafis and the Shafi'is say that the parts of human beings, men and women, is half. The parts of women is half of the men in all cases, not when it goes to the third of it. You see? So here, actually, they say that the Prophet ﷺ says that the blood ransom of the woman is half of the blood ransom of the man. And actually, this is something that all scholars agree about. I read some of the people who start trying to say, no, you can't say this, and all of these narrations are weak. You can't say that all of the narrations are weak, and all of the opinions of Imams are weak, and all of the rulings of the Imams are weak, and all of the rulings of the Sahaba are weak. If you say that, you're going to ruin the whole fiqh. Because if you go like that, you will doubt about everything. You won't respect anything except what you want to happen. And the idea is like this: man, the man is responsible for the house, and that's why he gets more than the woman, than his sister, in inheritance, because he's the responsible for payments. Where actually the woman, she is the one who pays, who gets the payments. When she's under her father's authority, he's responsible to pay for her. When she goes to her husband's house, he is responsible to pay for her. If everybody dies, her children are responsible to take care of her. They are supposed to do that. It's not they're doing favor for her. No, they are supposed to pay for her. So the woman is always paid. When she gets extra money, she benefits for it and she puts it in her pocket, and she can do with it whatever she wants. Now, if the father dies, it's a disaster for the house more than the mother. Yes, I'm not speaking about emotionally and from this type of perspective. I'm speaking about if the father dies. In the case, I'm speaking about economically. Economically, if the father dies, it's a disaster economically. Unless the mother has other projects or stuff like that, and that's not the normal case in uh, most places in the world, most civilizations, or most places in the world. Yeah. So therefore, I'm speaking about a general case. I'm not speaking about some specific cases or some special cases. So
So,
therefore, yes, I'm
uh,
gonna I'm gonna uh, just
okay,
hang on. I'm gonna give you
okay,
guys.
okay.
Ask. So therefore, why is the blood ransom for the woman half of the blood ransom for the man? Because of this meaning. Because of this meaning. Okay. Because who's gonna take the blood ransom? Who's the family? The family are gonna take the blood ransom. Not. It's not the cost of the, or else we're going to say, okay, if somebody was killed and he's a great scholar, we have to pay for him 1,000 camels, not only 100 camels, because it's a great disaster for the whole ummah, for example. But nobody says that. We say male, female, that's it. We don't say what does this guy who was deceived worth, what does he worth? No, we don't say that. That's another story. And if somebody kills a great professor, it's like if he kills the last guy in the if he kills a child, not a man, a child. So it has the same ransom. Okay, so this is the case. So yeah. So therefore, the blood ransom is not the worth of human being. It's just to help the family of the deceived. It's to help the family of the deceived person. Okay. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد. وعن ابن عباس رضي الله عنهما قال قتل رجل رجلا على عهد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم فجعل النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم ديته 12,000. He says that narrated Ibn Abbas رضي الله عنه, a man killed another in the time of Allah's Messenger صلى الله عليه وسلم. So the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم fixed his blood money at 12,000 dirhams. 12,000 dirhams, reported by the four narrators, and Abu Hatim held that the stronger view is that it's mursal, which means there's a cut in its chain. Okay, so okay, this hadith actually, there is a lot to say about its authenticity, but no problem. No, this hadith, the majority of scholars mention this hadith to speak about the blood ransom by using gold instead of using camels. So if we say that one golden dinar is 12 dirhams, so therefore 12,000, it's equal to 1,000. 12,000 gold is equal to 1,000. It's the exchange. Now, in the beginning of Islam, in the Arabic environments, they used to exchange 10 one golden dinar with 10 silver dirhams. But later on, it went up a little bit. It became 10. It became 1 to 12 instead of 10, and then it changed according to the years. And so it's just exchanging money. So the Hanafis said, well, it's 10 dinars. 10 dirhams. 1 dinar is 10 dirhams because Umar radiallahu anhu did that. And this actually, it's exchanging gold with silver and silver with gold. So if we say that we're going to stick to the 1,000 dinars, so it's going to be the blood ransom wherever you want. Now, if you want to exchange it now, you're going to see how much does it cost. Instead of speaking about camels, you speak about the golden dinars. Okay. Now, the last hadith here, the last hadith is that عن أبي رمثة رضي الله عنه قال أتيت النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم ومعي ابني فقال من هذا؟ فقلت ابني أشهد به قال أما إنه لا يجني عليك ولا تجني عليه. رواه أحمد والنسائي وأبو داود وصححه ابن خزيمة وابن الجارود وابن حبان. Yes, this hadith is it's an authentic hadith, and narrated Abu Rimtha. I came to the Prophet ﷺ with my son, and he asked, "Who is this?" I replied, "He is my son, and I bear witness to the facts." So he said, "For sure, you will neither be held responsible for his offense, nor he for yours." Reported by An-Nasa'i and Abu Dawood, Ibn Khuzaymah, and Ibn Jarud graded it as authentic. This is the last hadith in this chapter. Let us see, what does he speak about. He speaks about that no one is responsible for anybody else. If your father commits a crime, you're not responsible for it. But if your son commits a crime, you're not responsible for it as long as he's an adult. But if he's still a child under your authority, you are responsible for it, which means you have to pay the blood ransom and stuff like that. And you are responsible for it, yes. But here, some people can ask a question. Well, how come you say you're not responsible for it? And now you said, several times you said that the family are responsible to pay the blood ransom with the one who commit the crime. This is not a punishment for them. This is because he inherits them and they inherit him, so they have to help him. This is the kind. It's like if there's our house is your neighbor's house is burnt and you go quickly to help them to stop the fire. This is what scholars say. Thank you very much being patient with me. Now you can ask any question you want. Yes.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. So you were mentioning about when, for example, the man is the earning member, and you said that is in general not always the case, but in some cases, it can be that the woman is the earning member, or maybe the man is not able to earn, maybe they're sick or older or whatever the case is. In that situation, what does that ruling change? And instead of half, does that become full compensation for the woman? Is it based on their earning potential, or is it based just on gender?
No, it's based on gender, because what? The woman is not responsible to pay. If she pays, she wants to pay. She's not responsible to pay by the Sharia. You in your house, if you have your husband, he's the responsible for the house. If you pay, Jazakillahu khairan, you want to pay. Like Khadija radiallahu anha used to pay radiallahu anha, right? Khadija radiallahu anha was a businesswoman, right?
Yes.
And the Prophet ﷺ used to always praise her for what she did for Islam, right?
Yes.
But now that's because she did something good for Islam, yes. But is the woman responsible to pay anything in the house, or she is supposed to be paid? the woman in her house, when she gets engaged with her husband, he is responsible to pay for her, all of her payments. And he is responsible to pay for the house, pay for the children, and pay for his wife's food, clothes, and all these types of things. But if she's, mashallah, rich, or she has a job or whatever, and she pays for that, it's something that she wants to do. Did you get the idea?
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking of like a situation where I know somebody, her husband has a cardiac patient, cannot work, he has severe heart failure. The wife does everything. So it's not a matter of she just wants to, she has to. And in that case, she is the breadwinner of the family. And
Yes.
and so, it seems in that situation, if the logic behind compensating men is that they are the breadwinner and the supporter of the family, in this situation, if she just sits at home and does nothing, how are they going to, um, you know, manage the household? So she has
Yes,
to work.
yes. I understand what you want to say, but even though you're not going to flip over all the rulings for that case, it's now it's a fixed case. Then everybody solves his problems in the way that suits him. Because when he's gonna die, for example, she's still gonna take her inheritance from him. They're not gonna change the inheritance for that. You know, you're not gonna
Mm.
change. I mean, if she loses her money in any case, the children are gonna be responsible for her in any way. If she doesn't have children, her brothers. I'm speaking about the Sharia. I'm speaking
Yes,
about
yes.
the Sharia how it has to be. But if things change, that's another case. We can't change the Sharia because things change. We have to make it back to the Sharia, not flip over the Sharia to suit the case. Okay?
No, so I mean, yes, the Sharia stays the same, but what I'm saying, in such a situation, if such a situation is presented before a judge, so then would the judge, you think, um, you know, in that situation, award her according to how a man would be?
He can maybe choose from from the other opinions, but he can't make a new opinion.
Hmm. Okay. So I mean, it would still be the same rule would apply.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. I had a question. When we are talking about intent, non-intent, and blood money, in this case, every time when we are talking about blood money, a qadi has to be the one deciding. It is not decided amongst family and the victim.
Yes.
There always has to be a qadi in this. What about in tribal areas? Because I know in Pakistan, like there's one area where it's always done by a tribal leader or stuff.
Resist that.
Would he be equivalent to a qadi? And a lot of times they have no knowledge of Dean. He's just a leader of the tribe, but there's no, it's a whole different system. So,
Yeah.
but the
Well,
idea
actually,
is,
look,
yeah,
in all these types of actually, we always read in the books that scholars used to condemn these types of judgments. Then they say that all tribes have to go back to the Sharia and have to make a qadi from Muslim scholars, not to just judge by the tribal tradition or something like that. Well, that's wrong because in many tribes like this, they don't give inheritance for the woman. They say the woman doesn't fight, doesn't do anything, so we don't give her. And they say that the money, if we give it to the female, she's going to give it to another tribe if she gets married to another tribe. So
exactly.
this is how they think. That's wrong, actually.
But the general idea is there has to be a case where proof has to be established, proof
Of
has to be
course,
presented, and crime has to be established, and then the judge decides. So a governor cannot do it, a family member cannot do it. It has to be done through the judicial system.
of course, of course.
Jazakallah khair.
And subhanallah, we can later on, inshallah, as long as we're still alive, we can study Book of Judgments because there are books that deal only with these judgments because the judge is not like a mufti. The judge has cases and he deals only with cases of the law punishments and the law of civilian law, which means things that have to do with selling and buying and all these types of transactions and stuff like that. The judge doesn't have anything to do with prayer and fasting and these things. That's for the mufti. Did you get my idea?
Yes, Sheikh. It's
So
very
this
dangerous
has,
to be a judge
huh?
then. I said it's very scary to be a judge because you're dealing
Yeah,
with
of
Shaykh.
course, of course. Yeah, of course. And that's why the Prophet ﷺ says that two judges are in hellfire and one is in paradise. Two, the one that judges between people without knowledge, and the one who knows but he judges according to his desires, and the only one that enters paradise, the capable judge, knowledgeable, and he so searches for the truth.
Jazakallah khair, Shaykh.
Okay, now here is some questions. I have some questions here. Imam Malik and who else makes no difference? The differentiation between intentional and accidental killing. Um, Imam Malik, I think by himself, only Imam Malik. Did I mention another name?
No, Sheikh.
It's only Imam Malik, rahimahullah. And others make difference. Wait a second. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد. Yeah, it's Imam Malik and others. I didn't mention their names. It's Layth ibn Sa'd and the Zaydis. Layth ibn Sa'd and the Zayd. I didn't mention them actually. But from the four Imams, it's only Imam Malik. So nothing close. Okay, here Abdul Qadir, a brother called Abdul Qadir, says, do we consider different forms of medicine, Chinese medicine, verse, etc., to be valid in order to determine who qualified to give medical advice, or to do only consider, or we only consider valid with your country? No, no. If he's capable in Chinese medicine and he has certificate, and or everybody says yes, he's a capable, an expert in that. Yeah, that's fine. It's not only our type of medicine, because in the ancient days they didn't have these type of medicine. They have old types of medicine. You see, so even though it's just something that has to do with the is he capable, and is he an expert? Yes. If he's not, no. Yes.
Jazakallah khair.
Yeah. Okay, Lubna says, Sheikh, I wanted to clarify this point. If a man kills a woman or a woman kills a man, both of them deserve to be killed because blood is equal. Yes, yes. The question here, the answer here is yes. Both of them deserve to be killed because blood is equal. Yes. However, in terms of the blood money, female's blood money is half of man. So is it going to be 500 gold dirhams instead of 1,000? Yes, it's half of it. Yes, exactly. If we say it's 1,000, it's 500. If we say it's 12,000, it's going to be 600. Okay? Yeah. Okay, now you see how the Sharia here is very uh important and look, in this case, if you see how the Sharia is very, it's gives every part of the body uh, uh, worth a lot. Imagine that if you give somebody, you punch him like this, and he loses his teeth. That's five camels. It's not easy. Nowadays, I think if you go to the policeman and you tell them that so and so hit me and I lost my tooth, what is he going to give? What is the punishment here? It might be only, I don't know, putting him in jail for some time and that's it. And most of the punishments nowadays is jail, putting in jail, as if the jail is going to solve the problem. Where actually, most people go to jail and they don't benefit anything from the jail. They just lose their time, and they even might meet others that would lose their religion or lose their beliefs or whatever. You see? So therefore, the Sharia is very qualified, very improved and there is a very interesting book called التشريعات الجنائية. I don't know if it's published or not, by Sheikh by Doctor or by Sheikh Abdul Qadir Ouda, Abdul Qadir Ouda. This is one of the great scholars in the last century. He was from Egypt, and he was a judge. And he wrote this book in 2 volumes, where he speaks about all of the types of punishments, comparing it with uh, the Islamic punishments. And there, where you find that the Islamic punishments are very rich. I mean, not very rich. Are let me see, very rich. Islamic punishments go to details and details of details, and they have answers of all types of crimes that can happen. We're actually sophisticated. Yeah, sophisticated. Islamic punishments are sophisticated, where the new or these types of secular punishments are so weak and don't solve a lot of problems, and they depend a lot on only on prison or some money. Even the money is not worthy. I mean, if you lose your beloved or something, a part of of your body is lost, the punishments are so weak. And these lead to make people commit more crimes, because when you see that you lost something that you love and the government doesn't take your rights, this makes you feel so angry that you feel that you want a revenge against the one who caused you this. And that's why the Quran said, وَلَكُمْ فِي الْقِصَاصِ حَيَاةٌ. It says that you have in retaliation a life. Look at how this word is so beautiful. You have in retaliation a life, which means retaliation leads to life, which means the environments or uh, the word I lost it. The society that has these types of laws doesn't have a lot of crimes in it, because if you see that if you kill somebody, you would be killed, and if you cut part of his body, it would be cut from. Imagine if you wanna punish somebody that you hate, and you go causing him to lose his eyes, and if you do that, it's gonna happen to you. If you lose his eyes, you're gonna lose your eye as well. Would you dare to do that? No, you won't dare to do that. The same thing, if you cut any part of his body, it's going to be cut from you. The same. Would you do that? No, you won't do that. So therefore, that's why the Quran says, وَلَكُمْ فِي الْقِصَاصِ حَيَاةٌ. That means in retaliation, you have a life. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help Muslims to go back to the religion and implement it all. And when we say all, it's all, not take parts of it and leave other parts, because the Sharia is each other. You can't take a law and leave other parts of the law. Because when you take the law and you leave other parts of the law, it doesn't, yeah, it's rada. Yeah. This is called deterrence. Yeah. If you take parts of the law and you leave the other parts, that means you are not taking it as it has to be taken. For example, let me tell you, sometimes there are family laws, but these family laws have punishments that are related to them. If you don't implement those punishments that are related to them, you can't implement the law as it has to be implemented. نسأل الله العافية والسلامة. Thank you very much. And if you still have anything to, yes.
يا شيخ السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
I understood last time there was some confusion about the transfer to the new lessons. So here I am, inshallah, today to explain myself.
Yes.
I'm Rayyan. I don't know if you
Yeah, I
noticed.
know, I know.
Yeah. To the other
Well, before we get to that, there was one last question that didn't
Of
get answered.
course.
And
Yes.
so someone FM has a question in the chat. They still don't understand why the blood money is half for the woman. So they don't understand why the blood money is still half for the woman if it is life for life, irrespective of gender. And
I said I mentioned this.
they just wrote it though, like after you explained it. I guess they still don't understand. It's FM, whoever FM.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. I'm just thinking if the life of a man is worthy because of the income generating potential also. So in terms of when you take retaliation, then when you take a life of, if a woman kills a man, then sorry, if a man kills a woman, but we're taking the life of, I mean, if the life of the woman was worth half, then why is it life for life irrespective of gender, but for blood money it's half for woman and full for, I don't know if I'm making myself clear.
Yeah, I got it. Let me just be clear with you. This question was asked by I think Imam ibn Shihab al-Zuhri rahimahullah. So when the one asked him this question, he looked at him and he said, are you from Iraq? Because they used to consider the Iraqis that they exaggerate in using their minds or their logic. They consider them, and then that they sometimes they use the logic more than respecting the text. So he told him, no, I'm not from Iraq. I'm just asking. So he said to him, this is the sunnah of the Prophet. Sometimes there are some details that maybe we don't reach to the full understanding of them, and we have to practice them as they are. Because he asked him about the hadith where he says that they're equal until the third. So he said to him, oh, how come now when the disaster was still small, they're equal? When the disaster became big and huge, it became half of it. This is what he told him. So he looked at him. He said, are you from Iraq? He said to him, no, I'm just asking a question. So he said,
I'm definitely not from Iraq. Not trying to use my intellect.
I understand. So he said to him, he says, Tilka sunnatul Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's the sunnah. He said, that's the sunnah, my nephew. That's the sunnah, my nephew.
So, Sheikh, can you just summarize by saying it's not the worth of the human being, but rather the obligation or the responsibility for which they will be questioned, financial responsibility on their community or their family, and it's based off of that. not the value of
Yes.
life, but
No, it's not the value of life.
the
Because
questioning of responsibility, financial responsibility.
because actually, when if we speak about value of life, we can speak about even the value of women or men is not equal. I told you, that's a great scholar or somebody that people benefit from is not like a last person in the society. You see. So if you kill the last person or even a child, it's it's the same. It's the same. You don't. It doesn't change. It doesn't change the situation. And you can't say that it's worthy because of he's a man or he's a woman or he's a scholar or he's a layman or whatever. You see? So it's just like that. That's how it is. Yes. Rayyan?
نعم نعم.
Yeah, you wanted to
Yes.
say something.
Yeah, about the transfer. Some people may have messaged me, but I thought everyone was confused, so I thought I'll hop back on to explain further. بإذن I think this is one of or the last lesson يعني on the
This will
old
be
Zoom link. We're gonna make a
I
new Zoom link
mm,
for everyone to hop on. If everyone could message this number, we're going to make a new group on which I'll add the new Zoom link. On the same time, everything the same. So yes, inshallah. Because last time I think only 2 people messaged me, and those 2 people also were confused. So I thought maybe
yes.
I'll hop back on.
Well, now I'm
So inshallah.
confused.
What
Why are
what?
you confused? He says
Why,
he's confused.
Shay? Because I talked to you for like 3 hours yesterday, Shay, and
Yes.
I thought we already fixed this. And now we're
I don't know
changing again.
actually.
Oh, I don't know. I just told I've just done what I've been told.
Okay, so Sheikh Othman is shutting down critical loyalty for
Well,
public classes. So I've been
yeah,
speaking with Sheikh Othman, and he wants us to migrate off of this Zoom link. So Brother Rayyan is the admin at Ibn Abdul Bar, so he's going to make a new Zoom link. So all of the Bulugh al-Maram students, if you want to continue taking the course, it's going to be the exact same. Everything is going to be the same. You just need to have the new Zoom link to log in. And instead of the payments being handled by Critical Loyalty, it's going to be handled by Ibn Abdul Barra Academy. It's going to cost the same. Nothing is changing, just a different Zoom link and a different place to do your payments. So Brother Rayyan, he put his number in the chat. So all you really need to do is just get in contact with him, and he'll get you the link and get you set up with the payments, inshallah.
Okay, wait a second. Let's just discuss about that.
yeah,
Stop the
we
recording.
have
Stop the recording. Hello.
stop the recording.